I don't know. Her program so far uh, is very center right, rather than more involved in having an agenda that deals with global poverty and with. They all say nice things, but there isn't one single candidate, perhaps with the exception of Kucinich, that even would mention the United Nations. And I almost guarantee you that when the Democrats and the Republicans choose their presidential candidate, not one of them have or will mention creating a more effective United Nations.
And why?
Because they feel that there are people in our country that feel that the United Nations is a negative thing. And so they will never mention support for a more effective United Nations. And for me, that's very upsetting.
So
And
if the perception
if there's one candidate that's running that will say, I'm for a more effective United Nations, I will tend to support that candidate.
Good for you. Now, it sounds like the United Nations needs a better press agent.
It doesn't have good PR. But not only that, but it doesn't have the money to do that. The countries that contribute money to it, particularly the United States, always insist that they don't spend a lot of their money tooting their own horn. So the United Nations depends on people like me and the non-governmental organizations like Rotary International or the YMCA or the Boy Scouts to get the word out to people about what the UN does. And sometimes they do it and sometimes they don't. Right now, the campaign that we have called Give Peace Your Vote to reach the yoga, meditation, dance community is a campaign that we hope will also expose them to what the Millennium goals are in relationship to eliminating extreme hunger and poverty, universal education, and cutting the death rate of children and women worldwide. So we feel that it's not just about registering to vote and vote for just anybody, but registering to vote and voting for an agenda that is more humanistic and less militaristic, and making that body of people be a visible presence for a more humanistic agenda. And that can have a major influence on the people running for office. I was just fascinated to read the other day that at the Republican National Committee meeting that a resolution was passed that was promoted by the rock star Bono, saying that 1% of the American national budget should be used for the elimination of poverty. And the Republican National Committee passed a resolution saying that. And of course, there were some other people in the Republican National Committee that were a little bit upset by that. But now that resolution has to go before their convention. I'd like to see the Democrats do the same thing, so that the thing that's on the agenda is that both candidates, Republican and Democrat, will say that we need to upscale the amount of money that this country contributes in direct aid to underdeveloped countries achieves the percentage of 1%. Right now, the average American thinks that official direct aid to poor countries is somewhere between 10 and 15%, and it's just not true. It's less than 1/10 of 1% is official direct aid. That's like nothing. This nation is not generous. And some of the neoconservatives will say, yeah, but we have all these humanitarian organizations that are contributing a lot on their part. That's true. But that's true for all other countries too. But other countries have no problem contributing, 7/10 of 1% for the elimination of poverty, debt cancellation, and so forth in the world.
We have a big disconnect. Our public has got a large number of disconnects from reality, doesn't it?
Well, one of the disconnects that our country and the people in our country have has been created through the use or misuse of media, which focuses in on the negative rather than the positive. So there are no programs on major television telling people in the American media audience, what is the UN doing for humanity?